today's mindful moment, packed with insights but designed to fit into your busy life. One deep dive at a time. Ever get that feeling, like what everyone says is right just feels wrong to you? Like your gut, your sense of justice is just pulling you in a completely different direction.
Yeah, it's like this internal conflict, right?
Exactly, like an internal conflict. And that's exactly where we're going to start today. We're going to dive into that unsettling feeling, that tension, by taking a look at the premise of John Grisham's A Time to Kill.
Perfect place to start. So picture this. Clanton, Mississippi. It's summer, it's hot, and tensions are high. Carl Lee Hailey, a black father, has done something unthinkable. He shot and killed 2 white men who brutally assaulted his 10-year-old daughter.
It's a heavy situation, right? And right away, that act sends shockwaves through the town. I mean, for some people listening, especially those of you who ever felt like the system just doesn't protect you, like you're marginalized, Haley's actions might feel like, well, justice, it's a father desperately trying to protect his family when the world has failed him. You might even find yourself asking, what else could he have done?
You're absolutely right. That's one side of the coin. But then there's the other side, the people in Clanton who are all about upholding the status quo. And then you have groups like the KKK.
Oh, yeah. They come into town pretty quickly.
They do. And for them, this is straight up murder. They see justice as something that can only be delivered by the law, and Hailey just went around the entire system in a violent, irreversible way. They want retribution.
It's like the town gets split in half, right down the middle, just from this one event.
Exactly. And of course, this doesn't stay a local issue for very long.
Oh, no. It's a story that's just too explosive.
Exactly. The national media, they're always looking for stories that touch a nerve, and this one is like striking a raw nerve in America. So Clanton, this small Mississippi town, becomes the center of a national debate. It's about race, it's about justice, and it's about the limits of the law. And with the media there, the cameras, the reporters, it's like turning up the heat on an already boiling pot.
It's like throwing gasoline on a fire. Everything just gets so much more intense.
Exactly. And right into this chaos walks Jake Brigance. He's a young white lawyer. You could say he's idealistic, maybe a little naive, but he is definitely facing the biggest case of his life.
This is the kind of case that makes or breaks a career, right?
Absolutely. And Hailey, in a move that really highlights the racial dynamics of the time and place, he chooses Brigance to represent him. The odds are stacked against them. It's a classic underdog story set against a backdrop of deep-seated prejudice and the very real threat of violence.
So put yourselves in Brigance's shoes for a moment. A win in this case, that could make his career. It would mark him as a brave advocate for justice.
Right, a champion of the people.
But defending a black man accused of killing 2 white men in Clanton, that's a huge risk. He's not just risking his career, but his safety and the safety of his family.
Yeah.
You can almost feel that weight on his shoulders.
You're right, and that's what makes this story so gripping right from the start. Grisham forces you to confront the question, what is justice? It's not black and white. You're thrown into this situation where the same act is seen in completely opposite ways depending on who you are, your experiences, your race, your biases. It makes you question your own beliefs about what justice really means.
It's like he's holding up a mirror to society, isn't it? Making you question the legal system, its role. Is it just there to enforce the law no matter what, or is it supposed to be about fairness, about morality, especially when the system itself has a history of being unfair? It's like peeling back layers of complexity.
You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly the kind of in-depth exploration you often see in Mindful Moments. And our podcasts, that AI audiobook analysis channel on YouTube, they really dig deep into how literature tackles these big questions of perception and morality, showing how different viewpoints can change the entire story.
So what we're doing today, our goal, is to really dissect this initial setup. We want to understand the different ideas of justice that are clashing, the impact of Carl Lee Hailey's actions on the community, and the burden placed on this young lawyer who is walking into a minefield of danger. It's not just about a crime. It's about a community on the verge of exploding and the very definition of justice in a society struggling with its own deep divisions.
It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. You see the raw, unfiltered aftermath of violence, and you see how that violence triggers completely different reactions depending on who's watching. The book doesn't sugarcoat the reality of racial tension, the biases that can seep into a community and its institutions. You see a man pushed to the edge, doing whatever it takes to protect his child. And then you see others who see this as an attack on their way of life. It sets the stage for a trial that goes way beyond just guilt or innocence. It puts Clanton itself on trial.
Absolutely. And as we keep going with this story, you'll see how these cracks turn into huge rifts and how Jake Brigance tries to find his way through it all. But for now, this powerful opening is what we're left with. A father who took the law into his own hands, a town divided by what he did, and a young lawyer taking on a case that could make him or break him.
Grisham is so good at pulling you into the story, you know? He makes you wrestle with these different perspectives. There's no easy answer, no clear good guy or bad guy right away. You understand Hailey's pain, his anger, but you also see the fear and anger in the community. That's what makes this premise so powerful.
It's like he's saying, hey, it's okay to be uncomfortable with these conflicting viewpoints. It's a reminder that justice isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. What feels right to one person can feel completely wrong to another. And that tension, right there at the beginning of A Time to Kill, that's what we wanted to explore with you today.
It's a reminder that our perspective shapes how we see the world. The same action can be seen in totally different ways depending on the history, the social dynamics, and the personal experiences of everyone involved. This book, from page 1, forces you to look past easy answers and see the messy, complicated truth.
So as we wrap up this initial look at A Time to Kill, we're left with a big question. Was Carl Lee Hailey a man who brought about justice, even if it was in an unconventional way, or was he a cold-blooded murderer? The book doesn't give you a simple answer, and that's what makes it so compelling.
It forces you to think critically about what justice really means. It makes you think about those times when the law and your personal sense of what's right line up, and more importantly, when they don't. And the media, when they come into town, they just make everything more complicated. They take this local tragedy and turn it into a national spectacle, adding even more pressure to an already explosive situation.
And Jake Brigance, he's right in the middle of it all. This young lawyer suddenly has a case that could define his entire life. His decision to represent Hailey sets off a chain of events that will test his beliefs, his ambitions, and even his safety. The stakes are as high as they can get.
This setup is like a masterclass in creating tension while also making you think about big ethical questions. It's a reminder that justice isn't always objective. It's often seen through the lens of our own biases and experiences.
So here's something to think about as we go. In what situations, if any, is it okay to take the law into your own hands? And how does the context, the society around that act, change how we judge it? That's a question at the heart of A Time to Kill, and it's just as relevant today.
We really hope you'll subscribe so you can stay with us as we go deeper into this story and explore other thought-provoking ideas. Share this conversation with anyone who you think would find it interesting. And if you want to dive headfirst into this story, grab a copy of A Time to Kill through the link we've provided. Stories like this, they demand that we think critically, that we consider every angle.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.